Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. One of the most unsatisfying parts of law enforcement is when justice isn't quite delivered. You can try as you may, but sometimes the evidence just isn't enough. What's worse are the times when the evidence is enough, but our technology isn't advanced enough for us to solve it. Almost half of the murders in America go unsolved alone. So let's take a step away from that eye-opening fact and look on the bright side. Sometimes cold cases get gloriously solved, and we all hope these top 10 mysterious cold cases find a culprit soon. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up. And in the comment section, tell us who you think caused these crimes. Number 10. J.B. Hilton Green Beasley and Tracy Jean Hallett. Let's go back to the 90s when these high school seniors, J.B. Hilton Green Beasley and Tracy Jean Hallett, not yet 18, were found dead in the trunk of their own car. They were on their way to a party, it was said, but got lost on the way. Tracy called her mother from a payphone to let her know they were lost, but that's the last that was heard of them alive. Their car was found with no damage, but with the two young women shot in the head in the trunk. There were charges filed against the mechanic, Johnny William Barentine, but he wasn't a DNA match and was subsequently let go. We still don't know who committed these crimes. Number 9. The Alaska Massacre. What happens when a day out on the boat turns into your last? All because you ran into a psychopath on the water. That seems to be what happened to this Alaskan family in 1982. They lived in a fishing village and took the boat out as a family with their crew. A gunman or woman seems to have caught on to their trip and shot all 8 people on the boat. It couldn't have been very calculated because the killer returned the next day, still unnoticed, to set everything on fire. To this day, no one knows who the depraved murderer is. Number 8. West Memphis 3. If you're into criminology and haven't heard of the case of the West Memphis 3, boy do you have a fun rabbit hole to go down after this video. Thanks to film directors Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky, with the help of actor Johnny Depp to bring attention to the case, and with the help of Metallica, who allowed their music to be used in a movie for the very first time, the West Memphis 3 were finally able to get their story reheard. Between 1996 and 2011, 3 documentaries were produced that covered their stories: Paradise Lost, The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills, Paradise Lost 2, Revelations, and Paradise Lost 3, Purgatory. All 3 boys, who were just teenagers at the time, received life sentence without the possibility of parole, with Damien Eccles receiving the death penalty after 3 young boys were found dead in Arkansas. After serving more than 18 years in prison each, they were finally released in 2011 on an Alford plea after it was exposed that corruption within the court system was the cause of their convictions. The debate is still out as to whether they had any connection with the murders, but in the eyes of the law, the real killers are still on the loose. Number 7. Natalie Wood. A high-profile case for our number 7. Natalie Wood's death is officially said to have been caused by drowning and other undetermined factors. Wood, of course, was an American actress famous for a variety of on-screen projects like Miracle on 34th Street, Rebel Without a Cause, among many others. She went out on a boat with actor Christopher Walken and her husband Robert Wagner, who, rumor has it, wasn't entirely comfortable with Wood's relationship with Walken. We have no idea what happened, but her body was found in the water. Somehow Walken lives to this day saying there's nothing more to say, that it was all a bad accident. Number 6. Athalia Ponsli Lindsley. Usually cold cases are dark and scary, like being killed in a dark alley in the middle of the night. This one is more frightening because it's exactly the opposite. Athalia was a model, activist, and TV personality. In 1974, she was brutally murdered with a machete in plain daylight in front of her house. Seeing as she was quite well known, it's not out of the question that she was murdered by a stalker who watched her from outside of her home. Authorities looked into a neighbor, but he was acquitted. What makes it even scarier is that her neighbor, Frances Bemis, who said she had relevant information, was then also murdered in cold blood, her skull crushed with a block while out on a walk. Her murder was never solved either. Number 5. The Honolulu Strangler. A mystery murderer from the middle of the Pacific, the Honolulu Strangler, or the Honolulu Rapist as he's been called, neither of those particularly flattering nicknames, terrorized the islands between 1985 and 1986. 5 women were his victims. They went through the horror that he unleashed on them. He's Hawaii's first serial killer that we know about. The state even assigned a 27-person task force, but he was never found. His victims were all different ages, had different professions, some as young as 17 years old, and it could be because of the randomness of the crimes that finding him has been so difficult. Number 4. Barbara and Patricia Grimes. Barbara and Patricia Grimes, sisters, were out for a movie in 1956. They were ready to see the heartthrob Elvis in Love Me Tender. They couldn't get enough of it, having seen it 10 times already. However, they never did see that movie again. They never made it at all. Their bodies were found, unclothed and discarded, off a road near Willow Springs, Illinois. This sparked a huge missing person investigation, one of the biggest in Chicago history. We still don't know what happened or what monster ended their lives prematurely. Number 3. Burger Chef Staff. If you're at work on a random night with 3 other co-workers, the last thing you imagine is that you're in some sort of danger. Jane Freet, Daniel David, Mark Flemons, and Ruth Ellen Shelton, all co-workers at Burger Chef, all between the ages of 16 and 20, were found dead in the woods in 1978. They disappeared before their shift ended, that much we know. Police even thought they'd all left, walked out, maybe in protest, maybe out of boredom. However, hikers found their bodies days later, and their deaths are still a mystery. We have no idea why they left, who they left with, or why they were all killed. Number 2. Jonbenet Ramsey. On December 26, 1996, citizens of the United States grieved over the death of a child beauty queen, Jonbenet Ramsey. To this day, over 20 years later, her case still frequently makes headlines in tabloids, movies, and documentaries. There has been a list of suspects, including Jonbenet's family, false confessions from random people, and an admission of guilt from a convicted sex offender who is currently incarcerated in 2019. Jonbenet was found dead in her basement from what appeared to be strangulation. No drugs were found in her system, her skull had been fractured, and her mother said she found a $118,000 ransom note for Jonbenet's return. To this day, her death is still wrapped up in mystery. Number 1. Zodiac. We couldn't make a list of the top 10 mysterious unsolved cold cases without including the guy we all love to hate and can't wait to see caught. That's right, the Zodiac Killer. Just to recap, the Zodiac operated in the late 60s and 70s as a serial killer. He's been connected to 5 murders and 2 attempted murders in North Carolina. He'd kill people in a totally cold-blooded way, making some of his victims watch other murders, sending cryptic cipher letters to the police and the newspapers, and then suddenly, the letters and the murders stopped. What do you think happened to him? Thanks for watching. Got some ideas about how these could be solved? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. It's no mystery. You can become an archivist right now by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notifications bell, and please give this video a like.